Good afternoon, everybody. It is almost 4:30. I've been home since about 2:45 thereabouts. I'm not going to talk about work because it's been the same thing the last couple weeks. It's just been good. I mean, I'm enjoying my job. I'm having fun. I'm doing my work, and I'm earning a good paycheck. Instead of talking about work or talking about Jerry, I want to talk about myself. I want to talk about something that has happened. I wanted to drop it, but it seems to be on the forefront of my brain, and that was what happened over the weekend. I'm somewhat ashamed, yet I am somewhat apologetic. I am pretty sure there has been quite a buzz behind my back and whatnot, and throughout the web about Saturday and Sunday. See, I do apologize to a lot of different people that I did hurt. But one thing I've been seeing lately, especially on Jerry's channel, and no, I'm not talking about Jerry herself, I'm talking about her channel. And what really gets me upset, not angry, just upset, is all the people that want to call us liars, or this is a farce, or we're grifters, or anything of that nature. We are so far from being that it's nuts. I've discussed this with a couple people, not even on this channel. People who know us, who truly know us. People like Lisa and her friend Sharon, and a few other people who have had conversations with Jerry via texting. And they all have the same consensus. We're not liars. Yes, we have issues. Yes, we have difficulties. Yes, like any couple who's ever been married has their up and down points. They have their arguments, their spats, their displeasure with each other, their issues of one form or another, that sometimes the woman will go and chit chat with her girlfriends while the man will go out and hang out with his buddies at the bar or out in the woods someplace, hunting or doing whatever they do for fun without the women. And I've said it time and time again. I don't have that kind of outlet. I don't have a lot of friends. And the reason why is not because of my personality, not because of my mood swings or anything like that, but because I am, for the most part, I don't have the social etiquette that most people do nowadays. I have my social anxieties. I have my issues with dealing with other people in crowds or in groups. Now I can deal with people on small groups, 1, 2, 3 people. But when you start getting massive number of people, I have issues. And some of these issues have to be with, trying to take the right advice and using the right advice to my advantage to better myself. Now, the weekend kind of pushed me backwards a little bit. Yes, it did. But not to the point where I'm not going to try to continue to move forward and try to survive, to strive for a happier lifestyle or a cleaner lifestyle or what I would like to have. Jerry Ann and I have been talking in depth about a lot of different things. We are talking, we're not trying to say whose viewpoint is better. We both agree we have our own opinions and whatnot. But sometimes you have to talk to each other to understand each other's opinions so you can deal with whatever comes our way. Like, for instance, when I started this channel, I was reading from the Bible, and I was giving my opinion of the verses that I was reading. Some people looked at it like, oh, I never thought about looking at it that way. Never thought about, what somebody else's opinion could be, because the Bible is written kind of blunt and straightforward, but it also has room for growth. It has room for usage in your daily life in one way or another. Now, my opinions never were in any way, shape, or form trying to denounce the Bible or rewrite the Bible or reconfigure the Bible or anything like that. But because of my studies, I understand that the Bible, which was originally written in two particular languages that are not used anymore, they're kind of a dead language, and that's Aramaic, which was like the first, basically all of the Old Testament, all of the original Old Testament that was written by scribes was written in Aramaic at the time. And then it changed over to Hebrew. And by the time we got to, well, actually before Hebrew, it was Greek. So Aramaic and Greek, which are not, the old school Greek. Aramaic is a dead language. Nobody really speaks it anymore. Very few people actually speak it anymore. Greek, the original Greek that the Bible was written in, it's not exactly a dead language, but it's not used the same as it is nowadays. And the final language that the Bible was written in, which is mostly the New Testament, was Hebrew. Now, if you know anything about the Hebrew language, you'll understand that Hebrew, for the most part, don't use proper nouns. So the names weren't always put in the book, not put down in their text, their original text. It was a description of a person, but not an actual name. Now, how we got the names, I'm not sure. But I know because when they started finding basically the Dead Sea Scrolls in the various caves along the Jordan River in Jordania, but caves near one of the major rivers by the Holy Land, as we call it, as a lot of scholars will call it. And they're still trying to decipher it because most of it's written in a language that has not been seen or spoken or heard in thousands, if not more, years. It hasn't been used since like maybe 1300 BC. So it's an old language that they're trying to decipher. And some of the stuff that I've heard about that they've deciphered is not really open to the general public as of yet, because there's controversy over the real meaning of the words. It is what it is. But my point is, after this weekend, I'm done with the drama. I'm going back to what it was my original plan for my channel, which was reading materials, reading books, and discussing those books, and talking about things that I'm interested in, not the he said, she said, not the negative Nelly stuff, the complaining, not the, all the stuff that's been going on for the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks of my life kind of wasted on a lot of brouhaha. Stuff that just did not need to come out. And I think I know exactly what happened in that 2 weeks. It's a combination of people were seeing me becoming happy and doing what I wanted to do and wanted to keep me under their thumb or keep me from being an actual happy person. They wanted to try to drive a wedge in between me and Jerry and my marriage. That factor, I will admit to this. I do have a tendency to self-sabotage when I feel like I'm getting too happy or things are going too good. Because I always look for that shoe to drop, that other shoe to drop, or instead of looking at the silver lining, I'm looking at the bleak, dark, nasty looking clouds coming my way or hanging in the background. That's my fault. I've been doing that for years. And Jerry, I'll be honest with you, Jerry has been trying to keep me or help me from having that happen. I totally honest with you, just blunt and honest, because that's the way it should be, and that's the way I want to be. I will tell you this much: if it wasn't for the factor of me and Jerry finding each other and meeting and starting to talk and communicate and becoming husband and wife, and her helping me with a lot of things that I could not get help with because my mom was not. My mom was way too nervous to teach me how to drive. So I had to learn. I got my license here in Missouri before going to New York, but officially I had to learn how to drive in New York. And for somebody who's never driven in their entire life, and by the time I was hitting 30, I started to learn how to actually drive. New York can be a very scary place to drive, and you either end up learning how to drive like a crazy person, or you just hang up your keys and don't drive at all. Which means you wasted your money on a car and your driver's license, and the if you use a driving school, you wasted your money on a lot of stuff. But no, I had no choice. I had to learn how to drive because a lot of times my job, I had to go to my job when Jerry was already at work, and there's no way Jerry can come home and drive me. And a lot of times, especially during certain times of the year, my father-in-law was gone all day long fishing. Yeah. Spring and fall. He'd either bring home fluke or flounder, whatever the seasonal fish was. I'm not a fish person. I just know he would bring home on a regular basis fish. And if he couldn't get fish, he always had a bucket full of crabs. I'm not a big crab person. But when he got that fluke and flounder and brought it home and breaded it in the whole 9 yards, made homemade tartar sauce. Oof, I could eat that for days. And I practically did. A little bit of pasta with some lemon and garlic, and boom, there's dinner. It's probably why I got a gut between all the pasta and all the fish. And my father-in-law was a great cook. My father was too, but my father-in-law. And sometimes I look back going, I wish I was not a picky kid when I was growing up, because I could have enjoyed food, hardcore. And I kind of sometimes think to myself, maybe it's good that I didn't was a picky eater as a kid and throughout my teens until I had to live on my own and went, ooh, geez, I have to learn how to cook. I have to learn how to make my own foods and make a lot of goof ups and go, well, I have to eat it because otherwise I'm just going to go hungry. I can't afford to waste food. But no, I want my channel to return to what it was when I first started it. Nearly 3 years ago. Late 2018, I do believe. I have to go back and look at my profile to see, but when I first started my channel, it was all about reading the Bible. It was all about reading the Christian material I had and giving my opinion of the various materials. I'll be honest with you, some of my books over here, they come from movies. The Love Dare, Courageous, War Room. They're all Christian movies. I don't know if they were originally based on the books or the books were based on the movie. I don't know. But I'm like I think I said Sunday, or was it Monday? I I think it was Monday. I'm gonna follow my heart. I'm gonna follow my heart. I'm gonna rely on my faith, and I'm gonna rely on the higher power that we should all be relying on and looking up to, and trying to live by Jesus's example throughout the New Testament. And I can tell you this much: I failed. There's a lot of other people who are making comments on both my channel and my wife's channels that just by their comments alone, they failed. I know a lot of people love to basically listen to our videos or listen to what they want to listen to and make judgment calls. That's fine. That's fine. But as one particular person said, hold on, I'm trying to think. Yes, Northern Girl from that bakery website, she said it quite eloquently, and I love her for it. But what she said was, we'll all know on Judgment Day. We'll know who was right or who was wrong on Judgment Day. And that's why I'm trying to follow my heart again, because I realize, even though the Bible says the heart can be a deceiver, but I think with strong faith in Jesus, we won't get led astray so easily. My faith in Jesus kind of waxed and waned because of different events or different things that happened throughout my life that made me question. And then I remembered the poem, or I don't know if it's a poem or an actual saying out of the Bible, but footprints. I used to carry in my wallet 2 cards that I got at a Christian bookstore in Arizona. One was Footprints, and the other one was the Serenity Prayer. I don't know why I got the Serenity Prayer. I don't know if that was just because it was very poignant words and whatnot, even though I had never had to deal with... I think the only reason why I got it is because of the factor of the multiple times attempting overdose suicide, which never worked, obviously. But I'm pretty much, I've already seen my numbers dropping, in subscribers, which is fine. I pretty much already know who most of my loyal people are, because they've been with me since 2018, since day one. I think they were actually with me before I actually started monetizing my my videos. People like Sheila and Nelly, those two I definitely know were with me since the beginning. I don't know everybody's names. I don't remember names that well. I think the reason why I remember Sheila and Nelly is because of the fact that we talked the most in the beginning. There was a lot of open conversation between me and those 2 ladies, and I appreciated them. I know I probably lost a lot of viewers when I stopped reading from the Bible, which I can kind of understand, but at the same time I kind of don't, because I'm not the best. I'm nowhere near the best when it comes to Bible reading or things of that nature. I can get short-fused with people. I can get really aggravated with just comments that just seem so, to me, belittling, or that kind of thing. That, in fact, are people running over here trying to tell me what Jerry is saying in her videos, and I'm like, I watch her videos. If I have any question about her videos, I'll watch them. And if I have any questions about the video alone, I know who the author is. I can go talk to that person directly and get the real information, and not some fabricated story that somebody else is trying to spew. That in fact I know everybody has the right to their opinion. But just because they have the right to their opinion does not mean that they need to be, voicing it all the time. Um, I have my opinion about a lot of different things, and there's a lot of those things I don't talk about because it's my opinion. Just like the whole deal during the presidential election, I was voicing my opinion. I realize now maybe it wasn't necessary. Actually, not even maybe, it just wasn't necessary because it was my opinion. I, you know, I learned as I go. And yeah, okay. Now, some of the things that people are saying on Jared's channel, she deletes. That's her choice. Just like the one person that was not only aggravating me, but aggravating all my other viewers, I was like, no, no. If we're going to perpetuate aggravation or perpetuate hate and negativity and whatnot, and it's causing issues with not just myself, but with my other viewers, especially viewers that I know have been with me a very long time, no. I just have to end that because I'm done with that. I'm done with a lot. I'm done with people using my platform and my channel as a means of just perpetuating negativity and displeasure and whatnot. Fine and dandy. You know, if in the comments somebody wants to say something and somebody else wants to either rebuttal it or put out their opinion and whatnot, and then it becomes an arguing match of who's right and who's wrong, who knows me better than the other person, no. I have multiple facets, and a lot of those have not even been shown on camera. There is nobody, literally nobody on the face of this planet that knows me best or better, except for one, and he's not even on this planet. He's all over the planet, and that would be Jesus. Perfect song. I do not remember the group that sings the song, but it's a contemporary Christian song, and they have one version with oh my goodness, I can't even remember her. Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton was helped them sing it in one particular version of it. And it's called "God Only Knows." Mercy Me sung one song that I really like. That it's basically called "So Long Self." There's been a couple good ones out lately, and I just can't remember who sang them. But most of them are contemporary Christian. And I've listened to a lot of different artists throughout the last 30 to 35 years. I've listened to Carmen, Amy Grant, Sandy Patty, Porn of Grace, For Him, Toby Mac, Mercy Me, DC Talk, Third Day, Skillet, Petra, and I can't remember. There's like a whole. I mean, I've got a whole list of them that I either have CDs of or just listen to them on Spirit FM here in Missouri, or Sirius Satellite Radio has a contemporary Christian channel. Not their gospel channel, it's contemporary Christian. And I think, Petra has Stand, Jekyll and Hyde. There's one other one that I really like that I have on my playlist on my phone. Not my Apple playlist, but are not on my YouTube playlist, but on my Apple playlist. But no, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going back to, I guess the best way to say it would be grassroots. Yes, I still read the Norse materials and books and whatnot. And I don't care what people said. I've traced my lineage. I know who I'm from, where I'm from, and how I came. So, you know, I actually had a couple books that I think I lost during Hurricane Sandy that were on the Celtic folklore, and that kind of stuff. But no, I think what I'm probably going to try to do in the next week or two is finish up the American Cozy, and then I'm going to try to schedule myself like a little bit from the Bible, a little bit from this, a little bit from that, until I can either get my groove back or decide exactly what I want to do. Because let's just put, excuse me, heartburn, I hope. I mean, I appreciate everybody who's come onto my channel and watched my videos. What causes me to not appreciate people is when they start trying to tell me who I am, what I am, or what I'm not. Especially when I'm not. Pointing the finger of being a manipulator or anything like that towards my wife. According to the definition, no. According to the what resources did I look up? Webster Dictionary, Wikipedia, and I can't remember what the other resource was. It was Medical Journal or Medical Digest, and according to their descriptions, Jerry's not a manipulator. She might be somewhat controlling when I'm having issues, because what she's trying to do is not control me. She is just trying to get me to do what needs to be done, or help her finish what needs to be done, because I'm lost. I'm confused. I get lost or confused because of attention deficit disorder, or just my brain is trying to tell me one thing and she's trying to tell me something different, and I can't decipher which one is best. Because I can look at things and go, okay, this is instructions, this is what the instructions say, okay, well, with those pieces, that piece, okay, I can put it together. And then Jerry doesn't understand how I see it, and starts not really demanding me to do it her way, but trying to get me to explain to her what my brain is telling me what to do, and I have trouble explaining it to her. That's it. That's all. She's just trying to be on the same page with me. My brain was already taken off and done. You know. Yes, we have our disagreements. Yes, we have our differences in opinion. But how many couples out there don't have difficulties or differences of opinions or different ways of doing certain things? Most of my family that I know of, take for instance, the one set of family members that I look up to because of the fact that they've been married for a long time and they've gone through a lot, and my uncle has gone through a lot before he got married, and my aunt had to learn how to deal with it and, not trigger memories of Nam. And he's got his own way of doing certain things, and so basically in their household, she's the cook, cleaner, caretaker. He's the architect, builder, put her together, reassemble, fix this, fix that. He's the handyman. When he's doing his thing, she lets him be. When there's something that needs to be done, she goes to him and lets him know, and he's like, all right, I'll be on it in a second. And then she walks away and leaves it in his hands. You know, the difference between me and Jerry is she grew up with siblings. I grew up as an only child. I would have had an elder sister, according to my mom, but she had a miscarriage. So I didn't get to have a sibling or be a sibling. So some people might think, oh, he was an only child, he was spoiled. No. The only way I got spoiled is when we went to visit Grandma on the holidays when we lived in Little Rock, Arkansas for 3 years. Was not spoiled by my parents. My dad was one of those people who, the way he grew up with his siblings in the 40s, 50s, and 60s was you either earned what you want or you waited until your birthday or Christmas and hoped you got it. The only time my father that I can remember actually giving me a gift or a toy that was not on my birthday or not on a holiday was when I was laying in the hospital for 3 days after having a seizure with unknown reasons, unknown causes, except for the factor that the only thing that the doctors can guess from all the different reports and whatnot and all the different people who came forward to tell my parents what happened was during PE at school, playing flag football, me and another kid collided. I fell backwards, and that's when I must have hit my head because I had some sort of bump on the back of my head. So I must have hit my head on a rock or something like that, and it caused me to have a seizure. Other than that, don't know exactly what happened that day. All I remember from that day was waking up in the hospital going, what? There's Dad, there's Mom, I guess, who are these other people standing around me? And then 3 days of being in the hospital for observation and testing. And still the tests weren't conclusive. We can't figure out what caused him to have the seizure. His EKG is normal. His MRI is normal. There's no broken bones, no sign of concussion. Just that 1 day worth of basically blacking out. According to my mom, after she got me home, I threw up a couple times and passed out, and she tried to keep me awake, but I kept on passing out. And then when Dad finally got home, they took me to the hospital. I don't remember any of that because, like I said, the only thing I remember from that day was waking up in the hospital going, what the heck? I mean, I've had a rough life as an only child, but people always think of only children being spoiled. No. But anyhow, let me get back to what I was originally talking about. I know I trailed off and I keep on coming back to it. My channel is going to go back to what it was. It's going to go back to simple, just my life, what's going on in my life. Maybe reading some material from a book or two or paraphrasing it or whatever. I'm not doing this whole routine of negativity. I found my ground to start on. I had been, doing quite well and being quite happy until this weekend. And like I said, it pushed me backwards because it became, not that it came all about Jerry, but it was literally after going back and looking at the video and the whole 9 yards, which I got upset about once I rewatched it, because it wasn't the fact that Jerry was there to monitor me. She was actually kind of there to monitor for, negative or non-important, people or people who were being overly belligerent. And then it all went downhill because one particular person was basically maybe it was more than one person, but Jerry felt like she was getting attacked. Because all of a sudden it became about, oh, Jerry's here. Why is this? Why is that? Did it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, no wonder she basically got mad and left. And that's about the same time I ended the whole video, the whole thing, because one, it was already over an hour long, and two, it was just like, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, people's comments are getting redacted, and people are getting, somebody got put in timeout that I didn't know about, and the whole 9 yards, and I just kind of went, what the heck? Talked to Jerry about it. We got it figured. She told me why, and I went, oh, yeah, okay, that, okay, done. Done, not just because it hurt Jerry, but because the fact I realized that just perpetuating the he said, she said, she's making rude comments about me, according to certain people, or I'm making rude comments about her, according to certain people, and just, going to her to tell her about it, or coming to me to tell about her stuff, and I'm like, how many times do I have to tell people? One, we don't really watch each other's videos, so we don't trigger each other. We don't need people running back and forth, tattletaling or twisting the words, especially twisting Jerry's words. Because I decided to go back and look at some of the videos. People were saying that she was downing me or anything like that. I'm like, no, she's not really downing me. She's explaining facts. She's talking about facts, not trying to be rude or mean or downing me. She's talking facts. She knows my health issues. She knows my problems. She knows me well enough to know what's wrong or what issues I have, or, things that I still deal with 40 years. Well, actually, if you want to talk about my educational problems, that's basically been all my life. But, the dealing with emotions and whatnot because of, to be true and honest, I had an emotionally stunted growth. Psychiatrists have talked about, people who had psychologically abusive childhoods, whether it's inside the home or just in general, everything around that child, stunted their growth, stunted their education. I'm one of those people. Not because of my parents, because my parents tried to bring me up proper and try to educate me proper and try to help me with my educational problems. It was more the military not knowing how to diagnose ADHD or hyperactivity. They just went, oh, he's slow and stupid. I had to hear that all the way up until high school. He's slow, he's stupid, he won't be able to make it past his grade level, let alone 2 grades below his level. Did it, and it affected me. And as I said in other videos when I talk about my life, if it wasn't for one of my high school teachers, I probably would not have gotten to where I am now, education-wise. Now, the other thing is like, socially, when I was a kid, I was social, but after getting back from Germany and having kids my own age in grade school with me here in the States going, oh, you just got back from Germany, your family are a bunch of Nazis. What part of my dad was in the U.S. Air Force makes you think we're Nazis? What, just because we came from Germany? No, Germany was split in half after World War II. It just, things like that I had to deal with all my life. It was just like, oh my God, people just don't understand me. And that's why I have issues with social gatherings. Granted, one of the other problems I had was my first language was not English. It was Tagalog. language of the one of the two different languages of the Philippine Islands. So my first words weren't mommy, daddy in English. It was Hindi, 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 which basically meant no. My first words, no. Why? Probably because of the factor the house girl that was basically part of my family in the Philippine Islands basically help my mom take care of me and the house and all the other stuff. I was a little, well, let's just put it nicely. If they can turn one of those Nerf water cannons into a human being, that would have been me with diapers. Second that diaper was off, right before the new one came on, I became a waterworks. So, having to listen to the house girl Verge say no a lot because of my characteristics back then. Because, most babies, when their first words are just like a parrot. They'll repeat what they hear. So I heard Hindi a lot. But probably why I have a better ear for foreign languages than my own home language or country language. But one of the things my wife pointed out yesterday, which I really, I appreciated because actually she was right. I have had a very interesting childhood. I've had a very interesting upbringing. I have a lot of different interests that some people may have, some people may not have. I've heard it from Jerry. I've heard it from you guys. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I'm just different. Look at some of the most famous people that we still study their materials. One of the biggest ones that I always talk about because of the factor of who he was. Albert Einstein. According to all the bios and all the information that we have about Albert Einstein and his life, he was a little bit of a nutball. He liked to play practical jokes. He liked to have fun and whatnot, but he was a genius. Thing was, when he was going through school, no, he was not a genius. He was like me, had problems with standard education. He could not do simple math. He could not do 2 times 2 or 4 times 4. But he was the mad genius that came up with E equals MC squared. Yet he couldn't pass high school level mathematics. The man was a genius. A little bit of a screwball, but a genius. It was either Beethoven or Bach. I can't remember which of the two artists. But one of those two guys, or maybe it was the other guy, Chopin. No, it was Beethoven. Beethoven was deaf. He could not hear the spoken word. He could not hear sounds. But look at all the classical music Beethoven wrote. Man couldn't hear word beans, but we have Beethoven's 5th Symphony. One of the biggest widely used composed pieces of music throughout history. We use it here in America during the 4th of July because of its tempo. We use it in movies. Some of our modern day music is based off of Beethoven's 5th Symphony. Then we have other people that I have not studied very well, but even before Jesus was born, if I read this information correctly. See if I can remember. Okay, yeah. Sun Tzu, one of China's greatest generals and tacticians, wrote this very book, Sun Tzu's Art of War, 544 BC to 496 BC. That's how long he lived. And he wrote this, The Art of War, which is used worldwide as an educational tool for various national military organizations here in the U.S., China, Japan, South America, not South America. Well, I don't remember what other nations, but they said all the other different nations that used this particular, England used this manuscript to teach soldiers tactics and strategies. Look at the Vikings. My favorite people, the Norsemen. They learned how to build boats that would survive the rough seas of the North Atlantic to get from Norway and Denmark and places like that to England. The longship made by the Norsemen made it to Greenland, or Iceland, Greenland, North America, all the way down the western seaboard of Europe, or the coastline of Europe, into the Mediterranean, all the way to Istanbul. It's one of the most durable, toughest boats built in that time period. And they were the first ones to learn how to sail, at first by mistake, but after they realized how to use a compass that they made and start using the stars to travel by night. They learned how to travel places that most of the people back then, they were lucky to get from France or Germany to England without having, shipwrecks. It's because of the fact that the Norsemen figured out a way to build their boats light, durable, capable of not only crossing the seas, but traveling upriver because of their shallow bottoms. This is knowledge that most people don't care about nowadays, but to me it fascinates me, the fact that these people who have not been on the face of the earth for centuries, for thousands of years, was able to think of tactics and strategies to defeat their enemies. Means of travel not only across oceans, but up rivers where most boats could not go. I love this stuff. This is the stuff that I love to read. And this is the stuff that I'm going to be reading more of, because I'm just coming home and chitter-chattering about whatever. It might be great for some people, but for me, I want more. And I think that's one of my biggest downfalls is no matter what I have, if it's something that intrigues me, if it's something that sparks my I don't know if you want to call it imagination or what, but just, I want more. It's taken me 25 to 30 years to get to the point where it's like I can't get enough to read. I have books I have not touched, and I've had them for a couple years. I have books that I reread every so often. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I like to do. I like to read. I like to deal with books. Anybody could sit back and gossip about somebody else. Anybody could sit back and make, fun or whatever over something about somebody else. Heck, I work in a place where I get people from a lot of different countries. Not, that in fact, a lot of different states. I see different skin tones, different shapes, different sizes, different linguistics. I could sit there and come home and go, oh man, I had to deal with this person or no. Why? I don't know who they are. Even if they have their own web channel or whatnot, doesn't mean I still know who they are. And I might know their interests, I might know some of the things they talk about, but does that give me the right to sit back and make fun of them for whatever it is they're doing? No. Nobody has the right to judge another person, no matter what. That's not what we're put here for. That's up to God at Judgment Day. Not us. Not us. Oh yes, we're human, so our aggravation or our anger or whatever flares up and we speak without thinking, speak without concept of consequence. That's human nature. Does it make it right? Not really. Not really. Because when I was young and I was growing up, I was taught to mind my tongue, to mind my tone, and to mind what I said. I'm an adult. I'm not a kid no more. Does that mean what I was taught as a child should just go the way of the dodo bird? No. Not at all. Not one bit. I know I'm losing people. I'm losing subscribers. Why? I really don't know. Do I care? Somewhat. I care because the fact are, these people either have seen, heard, or figured something out that I don't know about myself, or just don't know what they're thinking. I don't mind people putting their opinion on my channel as long as their opinion is put forward with grace and dignity. Not with hostility, not with harsh words, not with belittling or pointing fingers or anything of that nature. You want to come on here and give me your opinion about something? That's fine and dandy. You can do that all you want. But when it starts becoming an issue with other people, or it becomes one of those things where I literally have to look at it sideways and go, is this being rude, or is this just their opinion with harsh words? I've had harsh words all my life. I've had name calling. I've had being picked on, being made fun of. I've had all that. Does it hurt? Oh yeah. I won't deny the fact that it hurts. Do I like it? No. Does it trigger me? Sometimes. But that doesn't mean we can't sit back, have conversations via texting without hostility, without harshness, without being forceful. There's ways to start a comment or a phrase or an opinion without sounding like your opinion is the end-all be-all. I know because I've done it myself. Most everything I talk about, especially when it's like the Bible or the materials I read, or things that I'm not really going to talk about no more because I've learned that politics is just one of those things where you're always going to have somebody who's going to get hostile. That it cannot be a simple conversation without hostility. You know? It's just a matter of how we phrase our words, how we punctuate the sentence, how we capitalize the word or a word. I want things to be friendly. I want things to go back to a peaceful. I mean, yeah, when I was doing all the Bible stuff and when I first started, yeah, there was a few people who had some questions or their own opinion. That's fine. I have no problem talking about religion. You know, there's only a few religions that I have not read about. There's only a few religions that I've actually dealt with. And I don't mean just like the differences between Christianity and Catholicism, or between Christianity and Mohammedanism, or Christianity and Buddhism. I've delved in, the difference between Christianity and paganism. And I know there's a huge gap there, a big gap. But when you look at some of the old school pagan holidays, and then look at the Christian holidays, and you go, and people want to argue which one came first. Well, considering the fact that Christianity is one of the younger religions out of all the religions that is out there, I would have to say a lot of the pagan holidays that we transferred to Christian holidays, they were here first. Does that mean that the pagans are wrong or the Christians are wrong? No. It's just the way that, and I don't even say Christians when it comes to that, it's the way the Catholic Church, which caused Christianity to spread faster than what it was when it was just, the following of Christ. Oh, crud. Well, I can get into the differences in religions and how our modern day holidays came from the old school beliefs. And I'm not even going to say paganism. I'm just going to say the Norse people, the Irish people, the Scottish people, the Celts, the Vikings. I'm not even going to talk about the fact that it was a religious thing. I'm just going to say that the holidays. But anyhow, I can talk about that on a different time if you want to hear my opinion of that. In fact, I like it if you. I like questions. Granted, there was a Q&A from either Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. And it's gotten some negative, some positive feedback, but it was everybody's opinions, and I just kind of went, okay. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. So if you like this conversation, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about this particular video, go ahead and put it in the comment box. If you're new to my channel and you're interested in this, or in the subjects that I talked about that I like talking about, and you want to hear more, you can hit that subscribe button and then click on the little bell so YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. And if you are a new subscriber and you want to ask questions about my different interests, go right ahead, ask them right there in the comment box. I will be more than happy to answer them or write them down to deal with on any given day. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.